Good day, everyone. This is Professor Lance Mercado, and welcome to Operations Management. For today's discussion, we will talk about history and definition of the hospitality industry. For the introduction, let us first answer the question, what does hospitality mean? According to Oxford Dictionary, hospitality means the reception and entertainment of guests, visitors, or strangers with a liberality and goodwill. In simple words, hospitality may be defined as meeting the guest's needs in a variety of establishments. Also, hospice meaning nursing home, a medieval house of rest for travelers and pilgrims. Hospitality then includes hotels and restaurants. Some of the ancient hospitality customs can still give goosebumps to all hospitality professionals and travelers. The ancient hospitality customs remind us of what the hospitality industry is all about. To answer the question, what is the hospitality industry, we also need to dwell on the historical background of the hospitality industry. So let's discuss the history of the hospitality industry in a nutshell. The history of the hospitality industry is closely linked to that of civilization. It is a history that has developed as a major civilizations appeared and developed. Facilities offering hospitality to travelers and guests have existed across centuries, and they have evolved in their offerings by constantly adapting to the wishes of the most important stakeholders, which is the guests. So this chapter introduced the hospitality industry from the perspective of its evolution over time and covers its origin as far back as ancient times through its transformation during centuries of pre- and post-industrial revolution, eventually ending with a look at what the future holds for the industry. The hospitality industry is a mammoth of sector raking in trillions of US dollar in revenue each year, and travelers always sought hospitable places to kick back and relax, away from the hustle and bustle of everyday routine. Although most modern hotels features clients' experience and convenience such as televisions, minibars, and suite showers, they fulfill the same purpose as an ancient inns but with improved services. The hospitality industry is part of the service industry and is comprised of five major subsectors which include lodging service, food and beverage service, events, tourism, and transportation. At the core, the hospitality industry concerns itself with providing products and services to people which assist in recreation and supporting the well-being of people. It includes different activities which main goal is to provide a service and customer satisfaction. This industry can be segmented in four: food and beverage, travel and tourism or transport, lodging and recreation, which are the leisure park, relaxation, and many more. For our learning objectives, at the end of the lesson, you should be able to: number 1, define hospitality and hospitality industry. And number 2, discuss the origin, history of the hospitality industry. Now for the history of the hospitality industry, which belongs to the larger business group called the travel and tourism industry, is found within the services sector. The hospitality industry, which according to the United Nations World Tourism Organization will be the largest industry by 2020, generally includes the service organization that caters to people's needs for food, drinks, and accommodation, and as well as recreation, travel, and entertainment. To be able to better understand the complex world of the hospitality industry, it is necessary and essential to trace its origin, which began in the early days of human civilization, and to see how it is or it has evolved to the present day. Furthermore, hospitality is nearly as old as humanity, from the earliest caves to inns, staging posts, motels, and resorts today. The hospitality industry is thriving with something like 187,000 hotels around the world. Below is a timeline of some important milestones in the development of the hospitality industry. Now to begin, let's go back to 15,000 BCE. The Luxor caves in France are the first shelter in history that probably accommodated people of a different tribe. The classical antiquity in ancient Greece and Rome, spas and bathhouses often provide sleeping facilities and were popular attractions for those seeking rest and relaxation. A bordello in classical Pompeii is considered to be the first hospitality establishment that charged for lodging. In Middle Ages in Japan, the first two hotels in history, or the guest houses called ryokans, were built in the early 700s. In the Middle East, caravanserais were a resting place for caravans along the Silk Road, and refugees served pilgrims and crusaders on their way to the Holy Land. In China and Mongolia, staging posts provided shelter for couriers and allowed horses to be changed more easily. In Europe, cloisters and abbeys provided free accommodation to travelers. Gradually, inns and guesthouses began to open on popular trade routes to provide lodging for traveling merchants and their horses. In 1600s, more than 600 inns were registered in England. The English and French government began to introduce laws regulating them. Thermal spas with lodging were developed at Carbolay-Vary in Czech Republic. The first guidebooks for travelers were published in France. In early 1700s, Masonic lodge began to appear in North America. In Paris, the Place Vendôme offered the first example of a multiple-use architectural complex including boutiques, offices, apartments, and hotels. In 1760s, the Industrial Revolution spurred the construction of hotels across Europe and the United States. Early 1800s, the first modern hotel built in England with a full complement of facilities was the Royal Hotel in Plymouth. Holiday resorts began to flourish along the French and Italian Rivieras. In Japan, ryokan guest houses proliferated. In India, dak bungalows run by British government served travelers. In 1829, the Thurmont House in Boston was the first hotel to provide inside toilets, locks on the doors, and bellboys. In 1832, Holt's Hotel boasted the first steam power elevator in New York City. In 1862, Le Grand Hotel Paris opened the first or the largest and most luxurious in Europe, decorated by top painters. In 1870, the Palmer House Hotel in Chicago was the first hotel built to be fire-resistant and the first to offer telephones in all of its rooms. In 1873, the Palais Württemberg in Vienna was transformed into the Hotel Imperial, a superb luxury residence for the notables of the era. In 1888, the Hotel Victoria in Kansas City, Missouri was the first to offer an en-suite bathroom with every room. In 1893, the first school for hoteliers, École Hotelière de Lausanne, was founded in Lausanne, Switzerland. That same year, the Waldorf Astoria in New York opened its doors. It was the first hotel to offer room service. Its maitre d' created the Waldorf salad. Now, early 20th century, the early years for the 20th century saw the construction of the new luxury hotels. The Ritz in Madrid, the Savoy in London, the Beau Rivage Place in Lausanne, the Place in New York, the Metropole in Brussels, the Place Athens in Paris, the Taj Mahal in Bombay, and many more. During this period, Switzerland built its first ski resorts. In 1923, La Mamounia was built among gardens in Marrakech, Morocco. Many considered it to be the most beautiful hotel in the world. In 1927, Hot Shops was founded in Washington, D.C., a hospitality company that later on became the Marriott Corporation. In 1950s, after the Great Depression and the war, the 50s saw a second boom in the hotel industry. Includes an advent of Club Med, the first casino hotel, the first hotel developed by airline companies, and the new resorts flourishing around the Mediterranean. In the United States, Holiday Inn and Howard Johnson Motor Lodge were founded. 35,000 motels were built between 1939 to 1960. Latter half of the 20th century, thanks to various social and economic factors, middle-class people had more time and money to indulge in travel. Hotels began to diversify, catering to different budgets and interests. Spas, casinos, motels, hostels, resorts, conference hotels, and offering a more varied range of services. Now in 1970, hotels catering to business people began to proliferate, especially in the Middle East, Europe, and North America. Now in 1980s, the third boom in the hotel industry began in 1980. International hotel chains, mostly American, expand in Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. In 1987, Kendall College launched its Bachelor's in Hotel and Restaurant Management program, which later evolves into a Bachelor's in Hospitality Management. During digital age, software companies began developing new tools for the hospitality industry that are still evolving today, including customer database and system for reservations, room and housekeeping management, customer preferences, loyalty programs, and many more. In 1993, the travel industry was quick to take advantage of the advent of the internet, giving customers the opportunity to compare, book, and review hotels from their home computer. In 1997, Hotel Adlon Berlin destroyed and rebuilt for $260 million on its original site facing the Brandenburg Gate. Its exterior is a virtual replica of the original. Inside, the rooms are the ultimate in luxury. In early 21st century, global corporate hotel chains merge and acquire each other. Intercontinental Hotel Group now owns Holiday Inn and Crowne Plaza. Marriott owns Renaissance. Accor Hotels owns the brand Raffles, Sofitel, and Novotel. 2009, Airbnb is founded, challenging the hotel industry by attracting tourists and taking market share. Hotels respond with creative marketing approaches, including social media campaigns and personalized customer experience created through smart devices. In 2014, the Waldorf Astoria, New York is sold to the Chinese Anbang Insurance Group for $1.95 billion, the most ever paid hotel in the history. And last, in 2015, the first World Hotel in Pahang, Malaysia expands to become the largest hotel in the world with 7,351 rooms. And that ends our discussion for the history and definition of hospitality industry. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me and message me right away. Have a good day!